Cat TV is celebrating 30 years of community media. Help support Cat TV's next 30 years by becoming a member today. Your membership will help us continue covering meaningful, local content. Thank you for supporting your local community media station.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Art Whitman, Chairman of the Shaftsbury Select Board, and I'd like to call this meeting of the Shaftsbury Select Board to order on Monday, May 2nd, 2022 at 6:30. Is there anything on the agenda that anybody has a conflict of interest in?
No.
Minutes. I have minutes from the last meeting. I was not here, but Martha, Mike, both were here.
Yeah.
Can we do that if I have to abstain?
No, it should be postponed. I'm just reading,
Okay.
Joe's not gonna be here either. He
Okay.
just sent me a text this second. So.
Okay, so because I wasn't here, I'd have to abstain, so we don't have a majority, okay? Warrants. I have warrant number 33 for a total of $51,580.88.
So moved.
Moved by Mike,
Second.
second by Martha. Items over $1,000. Let's see, what do we got here? Business card services, $4,269.
Yeah, and just so you know, that about 3,800 of that is coming out of the park reserve. There are 3 picnic tables in that, and a bunch of tree tags, they call them, for the Tolna Trail.
Okay. Cot Services Incorporated, $17,495.
That's also out of a reserve fund for the restoration fees.
GA Bowl Fuel for $3,049. New England Municipal Resource, $6721. Sycamore Landscaping, $3,055.
That's a little high this month because we had storm damage. Jay had to cut up a lot of trees.
We have an agreement that
Yeah.
to go
Part of
over
his contract.
his contract. Wallingford Crushed Stone for $1,094, and William Barney Construction for $3,087. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried. 300.
Thank you.
We have 2 payroll warrants this time. The first one is payroll warrant number 22 for $24,173.17.
So moved.
Moved by Mike,
Seconded.
second by Martha. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried. 300. And the other payroll warrant is payroll warrant number 21 for a total of $26,181.79.
So moved.
Moved by Martha,
Second?
second by Mike. All those, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried. 300. Public comments.
We have announcements first.
You're right, announcements.
And I have one, so. Just-
The only announcement is what we were just talking about. Route 7A is going to be under a lot of construction from Paulins up through to just before West Mountain, above Henry Martinka's. It's a major job. There could be some long delays, so I guess if you can skirt around on new Route 7, it would be advisable now until, they have till November for the contract, but
Yeah.
it'll probably be quicker than that.
Yeah, it should be, yeah.
Okay.
And Green Up Day is this Saturday, and there will be people here, Cole Hall from 9 to 12, and we usually have a container here every year so that you can bring the bags down here and throw them in the container here.
Where, are the bags around in different places?
Bags are at different places, the rec committee have placed them, and we have them here outside around the clock that you can just pick them up, and in the clerk's office if she's open.
One time they used to be at the feed store. I don't know if they are this year. or
I
not.
believe they were dropped at the feed store too.
Okay.
Do we have more downstairs? Because we
Yeah,
ran
we
out
have-
of them.
We have lots of them.
Oh, okay, good,
Yeah.
because they had run out the last
Yeah,
time.
yeah,
I
yeah.
had sent some folks down and they said there were none
Yeah.
outside.
Yeah, a lot disappeared over the weekend. We restocked
Oh, good.
this morning.
So I will send people
Yeah.
back down again.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I have a question about the construction. Is that gonna go overnight or is that just during the day construction?
It's just during the day.
Oh, okay, thanks.
But the road could be very rough.
Oh, yeah, the road's
Yeah.
undoubtedly gonna wind up being rough. Yeah.
Right, so try to avoid it if possible.
Okay, that's it for announcements. Public comments? Anybody on Zoom? Okay.
Public comments about anything you've already talked about or what else is on the agenda? Are you talking about anything specific?
No, just public comments in general at this point. If it's on the agenda, you can speak during the discussion.
Okay, so, no.
Okay.
Now you can get up. Treasurer's report, Melanie.
Hello. I want to bring up the cash flow first. There's hardly anything we haven't already talked about. I'll take this off so you can actually hear me. Most of this came up in the last meeting, so I'll go through it quickly. Whoop.
We think these would be quicker. Maybe it's the operator, I don't know.
Okay, I go. The big thing you see there is the interfund transfer. That was for all of the checks that we wrote out of the funds other than the general fund, so they had to reimburse the general fund. And the highway state aid. I think all of this we talked about last time.
Yep.
So if you want to go down, Dave. Disbursements, no surprises there. So that's our real cash as of today, still looking good. I just found out today that the final cash flow for the schools, sometimes that's a nice little cash infusion that happens at the end of the year. This year they guessed much better than they have in the past, so we don't owe anybody anything, but we're only going to get about $37,000. But any cash this time of year is always very welcome. So I'll be seeing that probably within a month, I assume. So there you see our budget status. Again, wildly overstated for both revenues and expenditures because of those pesky flow-through grants. So I did net them there. So that's our real net revenue is a bit ahead of budget. That was because of sale of equipment that we have discussed in the past. Our net expenditures versus last year are still running very slightly ahead, and comparing it to last year is a little bit misleading because that was a particularly conservative year. So we're in a very good position for the budget. Anybody have questions about any of that? Okay, let's take a quick look at the reserve accounts. And I don't think there's anything in that we haven't discussed either. You'll see the other side of that reimbursement of the general fund there, and a little bit of water revenue. You can see water's there about halfway down, it's the only credit, and all the rest of that is the other side of that transfer you saw. I did want to talk about water as usual. I think I got 4 or possibly 5 more approvals from the state
Yay,
for
that's great.
some people who are getting some help from that program. I believe it's still going. It really is working. So if anybody out there needs a little bit of help paying their utilities, and I believe it works for delinquent taxes, although I cannot speak to that because that's Mert's department. But people who need a little help with their water payments, it's a good program, and it's resulting in actual cash. You can wipe out your entire arrears in one swoop. So please take advantage of that if you can. If you need help being pointed in the right direction, give me a call. I can send you the forms or links to things. So 4 more people have been approved, and we actually got some cash. I believe I may have talked about it at the last meeting. So it really is resulting in help for some real people. I think that's all I have to say. Anybody have any questions about anything?
I'm fine.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, Melanie.
Sure.
Okay, next on the agenda is the discussion of closing a legal trail from Dexter over through to Hickory Hill. You're welcome to pull your chair up here and please state your name for the record, and we'll listen to you.
My name is Brad Peacock. I live on 500 Hickory Hill Road. It's my husband, James. So just to be clear, we're not asking for it to be closed entirely. We're asking for it to be closed to motor vehicles. We're having a serious problem with people coming onto our property and destroying our property, driving on our lawn, and creating ruts. I've spent hours now reseeding my lawn, and as a farmer, soil compaction is a real thing.
Understand.
And so the wildflowers, are being destroyed. They're not going to come back. People are driving up into our driveway in the middle of the night, high beams on, shining right into our house. Because they get to the point of the trail and they realize they can't go any further unless they have a 4x4. And so
That's what they end up turning around there.
they end up turning around in our driveway.
Is it on a Garmin? Is that one of the problems or not?
Yes.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so it's on GPS, and GPS sends people as well as delivery trucks sometimes through that, which causes further destruction, and it's just kind of a danger to the
Yeah,
people
we
going through
understand.
that.
We have seen FedEx trucks go through the trail, which I don't know how, honestly.
Our propane delivery once went through the trail
Oh my
again because of the
gosh.
GPS.
But
They
if I had to turn an RV around because they were going to go through, there was no way they were ever getting through.
Sure.
And I don't know how they would ever even back up
Right.
once they got in. So the other issue is that our property goes along the trail for a long way. And so the trail is now so rutted up because people enjoy going through their mudding that they're now avoiding the ruts because the ruts are too big, and they're driving
Over on
onto
your-
our property, which is creating erosion,
Yep.
and driving over root systems of trees. Trees are starting to break, trees are starting to fall. Then people find it incumbent upon themselves to then clear the trees that aren't on, it's not their property to
That's
clear.
right.
It's an unmaintained legal trail, so we want people to be able to hike, walk,
Sure.
bike, cross-country ski, everything like that. We encourage that. I mean, that's the whole point
Yeah.
of what we consider a trail.
Sure.
So I could go on, but
We understand.
so so I've been going over the statute the Vermont statutes and Title 19 of the highways, and from how I read it, it's in the select board's purview to put up stiles and to make this just a trail.
After we do some legal things, it has to be an ordinance, is that right, David? It has to be an ordinance, so we can't vote here today, but we can start the process
Yep.
that will make this an ordinance,
Right.
okay?
Sure.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I mean, like I said, I could go on, but like people are dumping couches and tires, and it's just becoming a place where it's like, okay, there's no reason for anybody to drive on this trail anymore. There's no houses along the trail. It's really, when you think of a trail, you don't really think of I think of just a walking trail, but
No.
you know.
So, in your opinion, just signs, or do you want actual barriers?
We would like stiles so that people can still, like we say,
Walk through.
and
Walk
ski
and
and horseback or ride or whatever, because the signs aren't going to cut it. People
Okay.
have, hunting season is like crazy town. I mean, it's like a highway, it turns into a highway.
Yep, okay.
And so, which is fine, I don't mind hunting, but most of it's posted anyway.
And there are places to park at either end, so
Right.
you could just park. and
There
walk
there
in.
are places to park at the beginning of our driveway, like up.
Mhm.
And so.
And on the other side on
Right, and on the
Dexter
other
as
side,
well.
and it's like, just
Yep.
park there and walk.
And I think, it would be nice to have like a dead end or a no outlet sign on Dexter as well as Hickory Hill, because we noticed that a lot of the folks who come through are out of state plates or sent by Garmin or whatever. And so, like we had today, just someone parked in our driveway who looked lost, so.
Right.
So there would be, the barriers would be further in, so you would also like a sign out at the end of the, so that they know that there's a barrier up ahead.
Right, ideally
Is that-
it says,
As the ordinance would be, as I would propose, this would become Dexter Trail, because Hickory Hill's too long to do. So we'll do Dexter Trail for the opposite end, and it just would close off the .43 miles between the two endpoints on Hickory Hill and Dexter. The stiles are a gate, which may be necessary. That's really dependent on what our insurance carriers tell us,
right,
because we become liable for the gating or stiles. But we can start, if the board wants, we can start the ordinance process, which will take about 6 weeks to go through, because it has to be advertised, it has to be read several times. The first reading would be at our next meeting, and, I did run it by our attorneys at VLCT, and, as I sent to you, James, that information, the select board has the authority to close the road to all vehicular traffic, so. And as a comment to James, we didn't know that many people were actually using that road. I can't believe anybody was driving on that.
It's surprising that anybody would try to drive on that.
And it's quite steep, and there are a lot
Yeah.
of rocks jutting out. And we actually, when there was snow heaped over the entrance near our driveway, we observed someone, basically trying to drive over. They almost flipped over, so, I mean,
but they were they just punched it, and
especially
I
this-
mean, they thought it was gonna
Okay.
be fun, but.
And the other signs you're talking about can be installed once it's legally closed.
Right,
Because right now it's not closed. so.
right.
But yeah, the ideal would be to stop them at Hickory and
Dexter.
And that Dexter.
actually, yes.
Yeah, just say dead end or no outlet or
No, okay.
whatever, yeah.
Thanks for bringing that to our attention. And I'm so sorry that happened to your house and
Yeah,
your property and to the nature
It's
of
just-
that beautiful
yeah.
trail too. It really.
So at this time, I'd like to entertain a motion that we start the process of creating an ordinance to shut this down. So we
So
need this as a
moved.
motion.
Yeah, it's a
Motion by
motion.
Martha,
Second.
second by Mike. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? So carried, 300.
Okay. I wrote up a draft ordinance this morning, so I'll have that vetted by the town attorney, because the draft I base it on is not too current, so
Okay.
the town attorney will review it. That way we can have the first official reading at the next meeting.
So we have an official reading and for public comments at that time.
Yeah, because there's a process that goes through. It takes about 3 meetings to get finished with it.
Okay?
Okay, great, thank you so much.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming.
Have a nice birthday.
Okay, the next ordinance is the traffic speed review.
Yes.
If you could pull it up, what's,
Because we have had some comments, which is great, because that's what we're really looking for at this point. A lot of comments on Old Depot Road and the need to reduce the speed limit on that. So I think the board is encouraging everyone to keep sending in those comments so that we know which roads need to be looked at. There are a few it's kind of surprising, but this, which you can find on the town webpage, these few streets listed here are the only 25-mile-an-hour streets in town. That should be fairly easy to see at home, but yeah, we've had comments on Old Depot, the Hidden Valley roads, so please, if you read this, talk about it with your neighbors, and we're open to ideas being submitted. Most of these ordinances are frankly very old, which is why we've taken this on. But everything that's not in section 1 here, as you look at it, except for Myers Road, is a 35. Myers, for some reason, has a 30, which I would recommend the board correct anyway, because it's not good to have one outlier speed limit. It can be used to actually fight the ticket, because if it's all 25 and 35 and you put a 30 in there, it's kind of unfair. So I'm looking at this and I can think of a few that should be 25. So if you're home, please let us know, and so we can make a final judgment here.
can we start a list?
Yeah.
Let's talk about starting a list of ones that we would want to add to it or take away from it. I don't see any reason to take away from the 25. Just add to it possibly.
Yeah, I think the first one is Old Depot, because that is a major one here.
I think folks are commenting or potentially.
Yeah, I'm gonna
yeah.
stop sharing and we'll go
Okay.
to see everybody here. And Naomi, go ahead, I believe you have your hand raised.
Thanks. I would just like to suggest that Maple Hill Road and Cider Mill Road are in basically the same situation as Home Depot. The current speed limit of 35 is really too high, especially with the increasing number of UPS and FedEx trucks coming around because there's so many people ordering online now. It's really a danger to pedestrians, it's a danger to bikers, it's just complete around the corners.
Naomi,
It would be hard to reduce those to 25.
Naomi, I got Cider Mill Road. What was the other road you?
Maple Hill.
Maple Hill?
Maple Hill. So Cider Mill, Maple Hill, and Old Depot are sort of a unit geographically, and it would make sense to have them all in the same speed limit, I think.
Okay.
Jen, you have your hand raised?
Yeah, I would love to say, I'd love to add Hidden Valley to that list, because I did not see it on the list, and also trucks speed through here, David, it's really bad, actually, so that's all I'd like to say.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I think we were surprised to see Hidden Valley's not on the 25-mile-an-hour list too. Any other comments? Then really, please, it's just getting the word around. This again will be a whole new ordinance to bring this up to date after many years. And we'd like to do it to everyone's satisfaction once, I think, and have it up to date.
When do you think you'll have the official ordinance so that everybody can look at the official ordinance?
Well, I think by the end of May, I think that'll give it enough time. We've already given it a month for comments.
Okay.
I do like we're getting comments, Old Depot, Hidden Valley, so, and Maple Hill, Cider Hill, and, you know, we have to get those words around, because like Maple Hill and Cider Mill, those are very long roads, so we have to make sure everybody.
I was wondering
is aware of
about
this.
I was thinking of that, like Maple Hill goes right up over the hill and
Yeah.
that sort of stuff. Do you want the whole thing or just certain sections of it, or that's what we gotta
You
look
know,
at?
there's corrective speeds for curves, narrow parts. You know, there's ways of engineering the road so that you can have cautionary speeds without making the whole thing a 25, because there's sections where people are not going to drive 25. But it's also need to generate input from the many other people who live along those two roads.
Yeah, okay,
So we need the month, and then June, like I said, it's like 3 meetings minimum to move an ordinance along, so there'll be plenty of time for public comments.
yep, okay.
Well, I hit the banner and try and get a couple of good articles about what we're talking about, so that people will have the opportunity to, you know, comment on it during the ordinance period.
Did the board make an official motion to start this ordinance, or?
No, we're in the discussion phase, and then when we write up the
I see.
final one, probably for the first meeting in June,
Then it'll be-
because that'll have to be vetted because we're changing a lot of things.
Yep,
Then that'll be the official start date of the ordinance hearings.
okay,
This is just input. This is one where it really is helpful if people in the community speak up to what they'd like to see.
anything else? The ARPA Advisory Board, we're looking for people that want to serve on that. We have a couple very qualified applications, but we'd like some more, because we want to get a broad spectrum of professionals, all that sort of stuff, business people, nonprofits, and everything else, so. Again, please contact somebody.
Yeah, we don't want to do
Dave?
this too quickly or too slowly, so people please talk it around, and, because we do need members for the next board too, the Media Advisory Committee.
3, I think, that we've put out the call to.
Pardon?
Because you had, I think 2 meetings ago, had also talked about the Economic Development Committee and put
Yeah.
it out to the public, so we have 3
Yeah,
boards.
3, we need
At
Economic
the
Development
moment that
Committee
we are
members too,
searching for
so.
members.
Yeah,
And it's very difficult to get people involved, and
Yeah.
it's kind of rough with nearly half the board missing tonight to move forward on either of these
Right,
committees.
right.
okay,
Did you
So-
send the application, David?
Yes, I did, and it's been distributed to everybody.
yeah,
Yep, so we're just trying to get the word out more. Don't want to do this too quick, don't want to do it too slow.
How many applications have we gotten so far?
2,
2, okay.
and none for the SMAC.
Okay.
I should change that acronym, but
None for the what? I couldn't hear.
Social Media Advisory Board, but he's calling it SMAC.
Oh my God, that's hysterical. Okay. That was a good one, Dave.
yeah, well,
So, are we thinking that if we could get a few more, then the next meeting we'd go into executive session for?
I
Deciding?
think it has to be discussed publicly, but I'll let you
Okay.
know that, because it's not, I don't know, it's a gray area.
Okay, I just was curious
I'm
as to
kinda
kind of
curious
what
too.
makes
But
it need to be executive versus not.
Have
so.
you gotten anyone interested in the economic development?
I am working all channels at
Yeah.
the moment for all of them, mostly ARPA at the moment, because that one seemed like the most time
ARPA we need
sensitive.
to
And we have such a small time,
Yeah.
and I have some people in the burner for ARPA, but
Okay.
and I know Joan, on the planning commission, we have that member.
Yep, yep.
All set on
Yeah,
that
I mean, I
side,
just don't
so-
want to go too slow, don't want to go too fast.
Certainly, yeah,
And this would be only the second meeting we've talked about forming the ARPA committee,
right,
so
right.
don't want to get too far
Certainly.
ahead of ourselves.
okay.
But we have applications, so that's a great start, so,
Right.
we'll move from there.
Yep,
Same thing for the Shaftsbury,
Yeah, we need people, I think that's a great thing to just try and it just provides more voices looking at our, our media, our face to the town, and to people looking in, and just needs extra people to comment on it every now and then, I think. Also, last time, I don't want to jump ahead, but we reworded the Shaftsbury Media Advisory Committee. That was sent around, so we didn't adopt it last time, so if we're ready to do that this time, or you want to change, then...
I have a lot of comments,
Okay.
questions, things. I made lots of comments. I don't know if other folks do for this document that got sent around. Okay. So this document to me, just coming from somewhat of a thing about social media, talks about a lot of different types of technology services. It has IT technology, it has digital marketing, it has social media, and they're kind of apples and oranges. And so it doesn't make sense the way it's being written in this document. And I think before we bring this to the public, as a board, we I think as a board and as a town need to figure out, is this going to be our marketing strategy? And if so, is this a combination of digital marketing and communications along with social media? Or is it something completely different? And this document does not address any of those things. So that was one of the things that I'm kind of figuring out, what kind of delineations do we need to make for something like this. And I think that if we had potentially kind of call it something like a communications and marketing advisory committee, it would kind of encompass, I think, what we're trying to do, which is kind of create a social media strategy, create a marketing strategy for how we're kind of communicating in and out of the town, and what the board is doing. But I don't know, because it doesn't specifically lay out, are we looking at email marketing? Are we looking at search engine optimization? Are we looking at social media marketing? And I think until we get a good sense of what we're trying to do as a board and a town, this isn't going to work. And I think that a lot of people that are looking at that, if they have the kind of background in these types of fields, are going to look at this and say, these folks are confusing all different pieces of the puzzle for things.
I think you might have missed the point.
Yeah.
The point being, especially from where I took it for, was this advisory committee is to advise the select board on everything you just said.
Okay.
If the select board could do this and do all this background, then we wouldn't need an advisory committee.
So it's going to advise then the marketing strategy for the town. That's what it's trying to do then.
Well, you're heavy on marketing, and marketing is part of
that's
it.
kind of
But we're not
where I was thinking.
It's kind of like getting the town's message out, which is marketing, but it's taking it a little bit deeper than I was imagining. This, to me, was just to form a committee that would review the platforms we're using and recommend, which would probably be Facebook, and just review on perhaps a quarterly basis what we're doing and how we need to change the web page, or if we're putting out what needs to be put out. And, you can take a huge dive into media, I understand that.
Sure,
We don't have the need to go as deep as I think you're talking about.
Okay, and I tried to, really work on trying to kind of come up with, and look at other towns and kind of what they're doing as well.
How many towns have a
with kind of
like
things like that. And I guess my concern is I'm not sure from this document what truly the goals are of this committee. I guess that's, I'm needing clarification, I guess, on that.
Well, send me your notes and we'll try again.
Or I don't know if other people have that opinion. That was kind of my overall take on kind of this. But also, who is going to be doing the social media and other things? Because it can be a full-time job doing.
Everything that would be going put on by the town would go through the webmaster, whether it's social media or anything else.
Okay, so Jen
And
would
like,
be-
again, this vision of a massive social media presence isn't gonna happen.
Well, no, but if you're even just doing Facebook, it requires to get through algorithms and things
Mhm.
like that, 3 to 4 posts a week.
Mhm.
And I'm not sure, if Jen is doing that, I know that she works on many other jobs, and I don't know if she's part-time
No.
with us or full-time or,
Jen has a
yeah,
comment.
okay.
Jen, go ahead. Jen?
I think you misunderstand that. I can handle this. It's 3 to 4 posts a week. It's not a big deal.
Okay, good. I'm glad to hear it, Jen. Just, I want to make sure that we're kind of making sure that there are, it doesn't get crazy and that you don't get overwhelmed, because I know that you do many other things on top of doing the town of Shaftsbury.
What I'm assuming is we may have been led to believe, I'm already putting everything, all the meetings and the agendas on the website.
Yep.
And it would be very easy for me to put them on social media. And as far as I believe it, we would start with Facebook, and that's what we're gonna continue to do, and it would be very easy for me to just put it on Facebook.
Okay.
So I just can I ask a question as a public person? If
Hi, Andrea.
hi Jen, how's it going?
Good.
Everybody. Is this social, or excuse me, is this Shaftsbury Advisory Committee going to come up with the content and then give it to Jen?
No, not at all.
So then why is the social media, or the Shaftsbury Media Advisory Committee even exist?
It doesn't exist yet. We're gonna form it.
Why would it exist? I guess is what I'm asking.
Come up with ideas, we're gonna discuss it together, and we're going to review it, and it's, everything that's gonna go on social media is gonna be approved by the town. Everything will come from the town, but the advisory committee is gonna come up with ideas, and we're gonna discuss it, and then it will be approved by the select board and by the town administrator.
Okay, and so the people on this committee are gonna come up with a strategy that is supposed to be carried forward by you, essentially? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, but it will be approved by the town and by the town administrator.
So essentially, does the media advisory, so my question is this: if someone's doesn't have a background of like how things all work, how does that translate? Like, will it just be like, oh, this topic is okay to talk about, or this is how the post is gonna go? I'm just kind of curious how that is all gonna kind of come into play.
Yeah, I think the purpose of the committee is
Are
to,
you talking about a public opinion on social media? Because,
No.
okay, because I don't have one.
yeah,
No, that's not what I'm, no, and are you talking about engagement, which is actually what social media, right? So I guess the other question is, Jen, once you make a post, are you gonna be able to spend the time to engage with the comments for social media, which is actually what makes the post go up in the feed, or is that part of the?
no, hold on, we're getting way afield here.
This is a good point, Dave, this is a good point. This is what, is this what you want the advisory board to kind of come up with, so that Jen can put it out on social?
Now, the point was actually just to get some people, this is good because people were talking about it, because nobody ever talks about this. But the idea generally, from what I was getting, was a way to like look at what we're putting on the webpage, how we perform on Facebook, and be advisory. Not technologically getting inputs and things, but what is the format? How does this look? How could we improve this? Not getting into nuts and bolts and multiple platforms and things like this. I mean, marketing is a kind of a limited thing for us, but it is important to present it in a way that it's representing the town properly and what we're trying to do properly.
Right, okay.
Yeah, but it's not, I mean, this wouldn't be like we're working on this every week. This would be like, hey, the webpage looks like this. What could we do with the webpage today? Or what can we do? How are we managing social media? Meaning Facebook. Because let's face it, we're not going much further than Facebook. because apparently, from what I understand, that's the most popular one. But we do need presences in some place, but
Yeah.
I think this is already getting far advanced in the initial idea.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's good to have clarification
Yeah.
because it doesn't present
Well-
that way with what's written here. So I think that we can maybe.
Then my plan worked,
Yes.
because those things, you
Work on that.
throw something on the table, it's the only way to get people to talk about it.
Yes,
so.
no, and that was great. It was a great first step, so.
But, you know,
I think,
so
like,
go ahead.
what's the goal? Is the goal to have more outreach? Are you looking for more people to, like, you know, understand what's going on in the town? Is that kind of a goal? Like, is there a goal?
It was to reach out to more citizens and let them know what was going on in the town and to, yes, reach more citizens, absolutely.
Yeah.
So do you think email marketing is something that will be something that the committee would also discuss?
And that's up to the town.
I think if the committee meets, and those are the kind of things that if the committee meets and comes up with some idea, which is again, the point of the committee is coming up with ideas like email marketing, okay, well, that could work for some things. But yeah, bring that, like I said, it would be an advisory committee, so come up with an idea, float it out here, just like I did with this committee, and see if it flies. And maybe that will work, maybe it won't work. But it's really just review and ideas and trying to get us, out in front of the public a little bit more. In a format that's more accessible to people than it is now.
When we first started talking about this, I got the impression that some people in town were frustrated that they didn't know what was going on, and I thought this was a good way to get out there. I had no idea we were gonna get into marketing and all that sort of stuff.
That's
It-
when
it
you
was
put
just
this out.
Some people thought we weren't doing anything because they
Yeah.
didn't ever hear, so.
Right. Well, that
This,
is marketing though. You're
Well-
right though. Like, I mean, that's
That
a
is.
great idea that you had because that's what marketing is. Marketing and outreach and communications is all of these little pieces. And
Yeah.
it's wonderful to hear the select board speak like this, to be honest, that they want to get more people involved because there's a lot of people I'm talking to in town that really want to know more about what's going on so they can help. And I'm one of them. So Art, or whoever brought this up, thank you.
Well, then why don't you send me what you
Certainly,
have?
yeah,
And
I can.
like I said, it's like all these things I toss out on the table, then they get reworked and. it's
Sure,
just
it
pride-
always is.
pride
We're
in
always
thought.
a work in
Wait till we get to the
progress.
next one.
And
Okay,
that's the idea of the document is, I mean, it's not set in stone. You
Yeah.
know, we can change it, we can alter it, and you know, another thing is review of the content, all the content that's on the site right now for like each department and section. I've asked people, you know, review your section, please. I mean, that's the content that came from the original site. It needs to be updated. You know, and that's one thing that the committee can do too, is we can go through the section, if the person hasn't updated their section, like the content that's right on the main homepage, that needs to be updated. You know, we need to like go through and say, hey, you know, what can we add, what can we update, you know, we can do this. And we can do it.
And the other simple
That's
idea,
really cool. This is exciting for Shaftsbury.
Yeah, it really is, you know, and I've
It
heard
is.
positive things from everybody who said, hey,
Yeah.
you did the site, it looks great. You know,
Yeah, it does.
You know, we can do so much more with it, you know?
Yeah, totally, absolutely, I agree, Jen.
and that's exactly what I was looking for. New eyes,
Great.
just looking at it and going, what if we tried this? What if we did this? Because those of us in-house staring at it all the time, you know, you don't always see everything the way the consumer is seeing it. So,
right.
Right, and then we can look at those analytics and see where people clicked and like what they're, and then build on that, and that's the fun part too, I feel. This is, you know, right? Jen understands. I mean, I'm sure everybody uses analytics in what they do in their lives, so that's great.
okay?
so we'll go for a
Okay.
review of that.
Okay, I'll send it to you, Dave.
Right. Okay, there is a wastewater feasibility study, which is just a preliminary engineering study that the state is offering us money to do
Yeah.
this. And we have to, it's
This will be a sewer feasibility study, which will be for basically the village center, the village residential district, expanding out to include the Daly's building, because for future development, if we ever do build a sewer, it would be most effective out there and probably up towards Paul Inn, but it would basically follow the footprint of the water system. As you remember, there was a study done in 2006. The final product got no traction, but there are new systems available, there are new methodologies. The state now has, through ARPA funding they got, money to do this at no expense to us, so it's really...
This isn't even a 10% thing for us or
No,
anything?
it's literally nothing.
Okay.
So...
And it's not owed either in the future?
No.
The last one we did, we still owe
We owe $30,000 if we ever build a sewer.
sewer system.
But in the scope of it, 30,000 will be not much money.
Jeez, compared to the millions.
Yeah. But, as long as, it's probably worthwhile taking another look at it. The one thing I did notice in the last feasibility study is they got way off into parent acres and all these other areas where that just balloons the expenses. It would be very expensive down here too.
Well-
But, there were different phases they looked at. This one could be much more fine focused to here. We're talking about the village center, which is part of this. You have to have a village center part of it. And then the surrounding village residential district, which would take it up to the school. I would want to extend it down to Eagle Square because, that has possibility for development.
Right.
And up as far as Paul Inn. Then the rest of it would just be on hold, see where we get with that.
The reason Parent Acres was put into that is because at that time, the best place to hook into the Bennington sewer system was in front of the grain store.
Yeah.
So it was gonna go the whole length of Shaftsbury Flats, so why not swing it over and do Parent Acres on the way? Because that was where it would hook into the system, was right at Greenwich Street or the Brick Row.
And importantly, that's how Shires was built, because they were able to connect to that.
Yep.
So, I think it's a compact thing. This, the RFQ that we would put out is a request for engineers to submit qualifications. This is at no expense to us at all. Because it's all federal. This is a required step. Then we have a ranking process, and we take it from there. Now, the money is about up for this fiscal year, but they've told me that it's completely reloading July 1st. So if we can get this done, it needs 30 days to be out there. So I'd like to get it done for the next meeting and then advertise it and have it, see who puts in for it. And we'll definitely get people putting in for it, because it's a big project.
Do you need a motion?
Yeah, if we could have a motion for me to put this out, then we'd be ready to go. I will preface that by saying we're going to have to appoint another committee. But this could be like our sidewalk committee, which was, the sidewalk was myself, Mike, and the other Mike.
Mike Gennady, yeah.
But this
Yeah, it could be on this one,
could be, should be a little bit broader to review the qualifications when they come in. We might reach out to BCRC again too, but.
And so will the folks that are potentially doing this, will they have access to that 2006 wastewater study?
Part of the wording that I changed in it was to add in, under project goals, in 2006 water feasibility study for the South Shaftsbury was conducted by Stone Environmental of Montpelier.
Okay.
The proposals do not have community support to move forward, but they need to know that exists. I only have the one single hard copy, but
I've only ever seen one hard copy.
So I think we could come up hopefully
Stone,
with copies.
probably Stone isn't still in business, but they still have got to have that, don't they?
Yeah, I would think maybe, I hope so. But if not, then we'll just have this replicated or scanned so that nobody wants hard copies. We'll just get it scanned by
it would
somebody.
be so much easier.
And because I think it would be important, for cost, to start with this.
Right, and to just see all of the different iterations, because it really is quite interesting reading.
It went much further than I thought they were looking at. But this one, I think will, the board agrees. The way I wrote it was just for basically the village residential and the village center designation.
Right.
With just extending out to the adjacent areas served by Shaftsbury Water, which would not include Twitchell Hill, because that's a whole nother thing when you
Right.
start going that way. Specifically to include the Bernstein property though.
Yes, that makes sense.
So, a motion,
Yeah, so moved.
Seconded.
any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? So carried, 300.
Right, then we'll get that out and we'll see where we go with that. Let's see.
Mike, do you have a sidewalk scoping study? Were you at the,
I was at the meeting, I think we just kind of picked a engineer and
Yeah,
the guy was gonna
yeah,
review.
Dufresne, 3 people put in for 2 people. Sorry, 2 people, Dufresne and, oh boy,
Something with a W, right?
yeah, Weston. Somebody in Weston, sorry, I just forgot the name, that's bad of me. But anyway, they put in for up in Montpelier. So we did the calculations required under the federal statutes for doing this. Pretty much Dufresne came out for a lot of reasons. I've worked with every person on their staff, as has BCRC, as has Mike. They're currently doing our water system, and they are local. Their offices are in Manchester, so they have a very good feel of the area. They did the sidewalk in North Bennington, which this one would attach to, so they're very familiar with the whole layout of the area. So it was within the budget for the program. So the committee decided that they would be the engineers for the contract. And that
Okay.
probably won't be done until next year.
okay? Any other business? Martha?
Nope.
Mike, all set?
Nope.
No other comments or anything? Review of action items, you're gonna, next meeting, we're gonna have the ordinance for closing the trail,
Closed actually, yes.
and we're going to hopefully have some more comments about roads and speed limits on roads, and still looking for people to join some committees.
Yes.
Any other action items?
Oh, and we'll be working that pesky smack committee.
Yeah,
I'll send notes.
if no other business, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Mike,
Seconded.
seconded by Martha. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So carried, 300. Thank you for your time.
Got it.